Major League Baseball Players Association has officially distributed union cards to organize the minor leagues, and we are going to have some more on that later. Very exciting news.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
We are just going to jump right into Last Week in Southern Labor, folks. That is a segment that we do every week, mostly, where we tell you what happened in the labor movement in the South. We pull the information from Jonah Furman's newsletter, Who Gets the Bird, which compiles all of this information for the entire United States. So if you want to see what is going on outside of the South, then you should subscribe to that newsletter. You can find it at whogetsthebird.substack.com. And with that, let's jump into new organizing for the weeks of August 20th through September 3rd. Over the past 3 weeks, 96 workers at 6 stores filed to join Starbucks Workers United, including in Washington, D.C. The MLBPA, the Major League Baseball Players Association, has officially distributed union cards to organize the minor leagues, and we are going to have some more on that later. Very exciting news. The UMWA, the United Mine Workers of America, has a deal with electric car battery maker Sbux to organize 350 workers at a plant being built in West Virginia. Around 180 workers at GE in Auburn, Alabama, have announced their campaign to unionize with IUE-CWA, as we've mentioned previously. A new federal report says that there are 300,000 federal workers who are eligible for unionization but have not unionized. And that's not just those who don't pay dues, that is those who are not covered under a union contract. For context, AFGE, which is the largest federal union, reports just over 300,000 dues-paying members, so there is lots of room to grow. In election wins and losses, 169 Starbucks workers in 6 stores, including in Wilmington, North Carolina, voted a combined 69-30 to join Starbucks Workers United. Of course, we know here that the Scottsboro, Alabama Starbucks tied, and we are going to be waiting a while for the final results. 160 transit workers for Via, which used to be a rideshare app and is now a, quote, micro-transit app, voted 57-35 to unionize with ATU, the Amalgamated Transit Union, Local 1177 in Norfolk, Virginia. 89 workers for the Delta Natural Gas Company in Kentucky joined the Utility Workers Union in a 50-27 vote. And 18 workers for Maytag Aircraft at Fort Hood, Texas, voted 15-0 to join the Machinists Union. 12 workers who do lead paint inspections for inspection experts at several locations in Tennessee voted 8-1 to join the Operating Engineers, Local 369. And of the 8 workers who make hinges and other steel products for Carlson Manufacturing in Rome, Georgia, 3 voted, and they all voted no on joining UA in a rerun of a March vote that was 0-6. So I guess in a sense they improved their outcome, the union did, because it's just 0-3 this time. 98 workers at Penske Truck Leasing in Cincinnati and Erlanger, Kentucky beat back a decertification attempt with the Machinist Union Local 804, 41-28. And we've got lots of strikes and bargaining updates this week. The first up, the day that its employees had planned to go on strike, the Nashville restaurant Chattable abruptly closed for good. Food service workers in the city have been organizing with Workers' Dignity, a local workers' center. The New York Times finally covered the UMWA strike at Warrior Met, and somehow the guy who did the podcast about it claimed he had never heard of Kim Kelly.
Wow.
That's either you're lying or that is an indictment of your ability to cover anything.
Right. That makes me wonder, did you even Google this before you did it?
In other news about the strike, remember the call that we got from the West Alabama Labor Council fellow a while back about the secret list of employees that Warrior Met wanted to fire? Well, Warrior Met gave the UMWA that list this week, and the UMWA is fighting back, contesting the claims, and noting that the list just so happens to include union leaders at every single mine and is disproportionately black. Non-union school bus drivers in Franklin County, Tennessee, struck for 2 days after being denied a $10,000 raise that was already in the budget, and by Thursday, the county commissioner reinstituted the raise. Direct action gets the goods, folks. SEIU Local 500 struck very effectively for a week at D.C.'s American University and won a contract for 600 staff. We are once again in a cooling off period in the railroad union negotiations, which affects 115,000 workers across the country. The cooling off period ends on September 16th, but the rank and file does not seem to be cooling off much at all. The question is whether that anger will be officially channeled into a work stoppage. So far, 5 of the 13 rail unions have announced tentative agreements, those being the American Train Dispatchers Association, the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, and 3 unions affiliated with the Machinists, namely the Transportation Communications Union, the Brotherhood of Railway Carmen, and Machinists District 19. All of those unions have announced tentative agreements based on the Presidential Emergency Board recommendations, which is to say 9 have not yet. The Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and Trainmen, affiliated with the Teamsters, already authorized a strike before the Presidential Emergency Board was convened, and the Brotherhood of Maintenance and Way Employees, also a Teamsters affiliate, has sent out strike authorization ballots but has not announced the results. The latest is that the National Mediation Board is apparently ordering negotiators for the carriers and the unions to travel to D.C. on Wednesday to help reach agreements. The 5,900 worker Goodyear/Bridgestone contract that came down to the wire and includes a plant in North Carolina was ratified by the membership last week, and Cleveland Cliffs and the United Steelworkers also reached a tentative agreement covering 12,000 workers, including some in West Virginia, that is now up for a ratification vote, though the union isn't sharing details publicly or from the chatter that we've seen much with the members. Workers with Unite Here Local 355 at the Diplomat Beach Resort in Hollywood, Florida, which is a Hilton hotel, are taking a strike authorization vote this week. SAG-AFTRA just reached 2 new deals relaxing employer rules on, quote, exclusivity, meaning when an actor who's a regular on a show can do other work, both with the AMPTP and as a part of a full contract ratification that passed by a membership vote of 89% with Netflix. Union negotiations at the VA, at the Veterans Affairs, are not going well, apparently, as AFGE is calling for the agency secretary to remove the administration's lead negotiator. In political fights, Politico had an exclusive look at how GOP leadership plans to target the National Labor Relations Board and the Department of Labor in oversight hearings if it takes back control of the House in the midterms, as it's looking like they will. There's a difference, folks. That's going to be top of their list if they win the midterms, is targeting the only law enforcement agencies that help working people. Charlie Crist, Democratic nominee for Florida governor, is going up against the much-hyped Ron DeSantis, has chosen the president of the United Teachers of Dade, the 30,000-member K-12 union, as his running mate. That's really interesting. The National Association of Letter Carriers just mailed their ballots in their elections for national officers. And finally, the ever-essential State of the Unions report for 2022 by CUNY is out and is very much worth your time. The upshot is that we are still in decline despite all the good news of the past year, and that's still the headline for the U.S. labor movement. Plus, much more of interest in there, so check it out, folks. You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.